Good morning and welcome to the social media apocalypse. I am so excited to be with you here today. How are you guys doing? So I'm going to be talking today a lot about some changes that are going on with social media right now that you need to know about, that I feel like you need to understand. But I'm also going to leave you with some hope because I feel that there's some timeless principles that you can put into place to make sure that all of the things I'm about to tell you, that you can overcome them in your social media. So without further ado, welcome to Smart Social Media Tips. Hey, so one of the really big reasons why all of this is happening is because of one big reason, and that is competition. So right now, everybody is trying to grab the eyeballs, your eyeballs, and the eyeballs of the people that look at social media and that do social media management and that watch social media. They want more people to spend time on their platforms. So I'm going to go over several changes across multiple platforms. I'm going to start with, let me pull this up so you can see it, but I'm going to start with a couple of things that are going on that I think are kind of the macro trends. So the first macro trend really that I'm seeing is this one, and that is that social media traffic to news sites is starting to fail. And the reason this is happening is because almost all social media sites, LinkedIn, Twitter, is less so, but LinkedIn, Instagram obviously doesn't do links, and those kinds of platforms, Facebook, are depreciating links out of a platform. And one of the things that's happening with, for example, Facebook is they used to have an entire news feed, and they're completely depreciating that. They're taking out all the news. So some of that has to do with the competition to keep you on site. Some of it also has to do with regulations that are being put in place around the world for mis and disinformation. So these links are being depreciated. So for those of us who are marketers, obviously one of our biggest things that we're trying to do is drive people to our websites in order to bring them into our world, right? And the thing is that the social media platforms are resisting that. They always have, but right now it's a little bit more of a concerted effort. Like they're speaking it out, like this is what it is. The second thing that's happening that I think you all have seen as well is that there has been a rise of AI. So for example, Meta is now got Llama 3 built right into all of the platforms. So Facebook and Instagram both have it at the top of their search. So I don't know if you've seen it. Let me know in the comments if you have, but I certainly have. I've been using it a little bit and having fun with it. But the truth is that they are having a fight with Google as well. So here's the funny thing that I think that never was true is that the social media platforms, except for maybe YouTube, and then it was bought by Google anyway, were not having a war with the search engines necessarily at first, but right now they're starting to do that. So a lot of people have said, younger people have said that they use something like TikTok for search rather than, they try to find out things on TikTok rather than on any kind of platform like Google. And certainly I know that YouTube has long been a place where people search for things, but of course Google bought that many years ago because of that. So there's a lot of really crisis, I'd say, and turbulation going on between all of these platforms to fight for these pieces of pie. And I think because of that, we're going to see lots of changes shipping over the next year. Certainly with an election in the United States, we have some issues around that too. That doesn't so much go worldwide audiences, but I would say that in general, there's just a lot of turbulence this year, and I expect to see a lot of changes. So I wanted to show you this because this is where I go when I try to find out what's going on at, say, Facebook or anything at Meta. So right here is a couple of things that have popped up recently. So number one, Meta has now created a way for your videos to look the same, whether they're vertical or horizontal. So they're going to be showing an updated video player. So if you haven't seen it yet, you will. And that is when you have a vertical image, like say on a desktop, it's going to fill out the screen. They've already been doing this on mobile, but this is going to be across the entire property. So they're really trying to get that done. Along with that, there's a lot of things going on, and I can show you at Instagram, for example. There's some new stickers coming up at Instagram and some edit messages, pin chats, and DM updates. So they're really moving into that DM space hard. Meta has taken everything over to Messenger, and they're trying to integrate that across all their platforms. Really, really interesting. Along with that, I would say, which wasn't in these announcements, is that, and this is a really big one for creators, is that Meta has depreciated the API for groups. And I'm sure if you have a group, you already know this, because you cannot live stream into a group anymore. And this is like hard to read, I know, but this is the depreciation. This is the only announcement they gave, guys. It was just this outage, this depreciation. And this happened, I don't know, last month, just a little bit. I think the date was the 24th, but it was all turned off. And those of us who use a third-party tool like the one I'm using now, for example, which is StreamYard, to stream into a group, it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work at all anymore. Now, there is some really great stuff on YouTube. My friend Ian Anderson Gray has put together a great link, and I can't share a bunch of links with you because I told you just now that putting a bunch of links in is going to be really rough. But I have shared on my YouTube channel, which I would love for you to go and also, if you're not watching on YouTube, which many of you aren't because most people don't watch me on YouTube, but I do have all of this on YouTube, and everything I'm talking about today in today's live stream, I've put it into the comment box on YouTube because they allow that. So if you go over to my YouTube channel, you can grab that there. And one of the places you can grab that is at youtube.com/C. You have to put C for the channel, /KAMICHAT, Cami Chat. And this is the Cami Chat spelling right there. So I can create a little banner for you on that here in a second. But the point is that you are going to be able to create a live stream in your groups using a thing that our RTMP. I think I said that right. I always mix that up. RTMP. Anyway, you can use that, and it will put it right into your group. And I love what Ian did because he went step by step by step to show us how to do it. And I have that link in there. So that's what I'm saying, is that we're going to be starting to have these situations where we're going to have to do a lot more work. For example, I'm streaming today in LinkedIn. If you're here from LinkedIn, hello. And what's interesting about this is that I have to open up a different tab, and then you have to mute that tab, and then you have to put a stream code in. It's like so much more work, guys, to do this process. As I did today, for example, for Instagram, you can do the same process for like a group. And it is kind of laborious and annoying because you have to do that while you're also live streaming. So they've taken a lot of the stuff away from creators. Another thing that's taken away, besides the live streaming, which has kind of been the big talk, is that you can't schedule into a group anymore from a third-party tool. They've taken it away. That is the entire API, which means you can no longer automate things into those groups unless you use the actual Facebook. You can do it through Facebook directly. So you can schedule things through Facebook. It's going to be harder. That's all I'm going to say. So not my favorite, but there you go. So the next thing that I thought was interesting is that Masori, who runs Instagram, came on to announce some changes to further refine the algorithm for content creators on Instagram. So this one is very interesting as well. And I do have it, and I don't know if I can play the whole thing for you because it's kind of annoying to try to get to the beginning of this. And I've also, muted the channel. But Masori has said that what he's going to do and what they're going to do is they're no longer going to give credence to those aggregator accounts. So you've seen a lot of big accounts that take other people's material and then they share it. Now, some of them are talking about doing that to elevate smaller creators, but they have built their entire channel on other people's work, right? So what Instagram is going to do is if it sees that there's a video being shared that hasn't been altered in any way, meaning it's not been commentated on or given a little bit more of information, they're going to look for the original video first, and then in the algorithm, instead of giving you the recommendation for that big aggregator account, they're going to give you the recommendation for the creator that made that video to begin with. Now, I don't know how this is going to work. It's starting at the beginning of summer, he says. So nobody really knows yet. And of course, as you can imagine, the creator community is up in arms in certain ways. Some of them are really looking forward to it. Some of them are, skeptical. Some of them are pretty upset because it's the way they built their entire business. So there's some interesting stuff going on Instagram right now. Ooh, I'm having like flutters. Okay, so while I'm having flutters, I'm going to show you the next thing. The other thing that I think is interesting that's going on is this one. Hold on a second. Oh, Lord. I'm going to try to replug that in, guys, while we talk about this. Is that we have a really interesting thing here, and that is that data is suggesting that Threads, which is also a Meta product, is now seeing more daily users than X. So that X/Twitter, which by the way, now is absolutely X.com. They finally got their URL sorted out like this last week. And now if you go to Twitter, you go to X.com. Of course, if you go to Twitter.com, it'll just all forward to there. But X.com is up and running, and that's where we are. So I find that really interesting myself because, Twitter was always my jam. The other funny thing, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, is as maybe I should tell you now while we're at it, is that Elon Musk also came out, I guess it was about in March, and he said, March 27th, and he said that from here on out, and I'll share this with you so you can see it. Here on out, all X accounts with over 2,500 verified subscriber followers will get premium features for free, and accounts with over 5,000 will get premium for free. Now, here's the funny thing about this. Somebody did the work to figure this out, and I did not. But I think it turns out that only 4 users on all of Twitter have 5,000 people that are paid subscribers of the service. That's what he means. He's like, if you have 2,500 people that follow you that are paid subscribers of the service, you get your service for free. Now, I find this really interesting because even with that, I think somebody said there was 400 or 500 total accounts that had 2,500 people that followed them that also paid for the service. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that it's no skin off his back to tell you that he'll give it to you for free because there really aren't that many people paying for the service at this point. So I find that really interesting, especially as a old school Twitter user, that is kind of in the making. Okay, that being said, let's move on to the next thing that I want to talk to you about, which is really interesting to me, and that is this. TikTok is about to launch another product called TikTok Notes. And what's happened is inside of people's accounts, they've seen that pop up for them. So for example, if you are, sorry, I'm going to not log into Reddit, but your photo post will be shown as TikTok Notes. So it pops up this screen right here. So you can share photos on TikTok. I don't know if you knew that. And TikTok is now going to create this product called TikTok Notes. I'm not sure if it's going to be completely separate or also integrated into the app. It's not clear yet 100%, but it's coming soon. And what it's trying to do is clearly it's trying to completely go against Instagram for that. Now, as many of you might know, if you follow along with the crowd, because it's also was huge news, right? Is that there was a bill that was passed and signed into law in April that will require TikTok to sell itself in the U.S. or a ban goes into effect in the U.S. sometime next year. So in January is kind of the deadline, and then they have 90 days from January after that to get it done. So like somewhere about mid-year next year, they're hitting this deadline. I don't really know what to think about this except for to say that there's a lot of time between now and that time. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm sure talks have continued with TikTok, but they are sort of fighting back a little bit. And you can see they're just, deepening the popularity of the app. There's a lot of people that are really upset about this because they built their business on that. And there's a lot of US users. There are millions and millions of US users. And I think that that's going to be an interesting battle coming up. My personal opinion for a branded perspective, I'm not like using it for individual stuff. So I'm continuing to put stuff on TikTok, but I'm not like putting all my might into TikTok. I'm leaning more into Instagram because reels are are happening there. And Masori swears that they're not like favoring reels. So he's saying that. So one of the things he said as well about Instagram reels and video is that um, there's less of them. So what I'm trying to say is, I know it doesn't seem like there are, but for example, it's much easier to put a photo into Instagram, and we're trained for that as the average person. And so the way that the Instagram algorithm works, it also has sometimes to do with the amount of information that's coming in. So if there's a ton of videos and you're fighting against those other videos, it's harder for your videos to be seen. But if there is a insatiable appetite for videos and there aren't that many videos, compared to, like, say, photos, it may choose to show a video over a photo because the stock is lower of those. I know that sounds, if that doesn't make sense, let me know. But the point is that it's a supply and demand thing. It's the supply and demand curve, which I learned in college in my economics class. So that's really what it is the supply and demand curve is happening with those stocks. That's what Masori says. I kind of believe it because it is harder to make a reel. Creators do it, but like the average person, like it's sort of hard to do it. It takes a little bit of effort, and most people are on the go, and this is not their full-time job, and this is not what they're doing, is making reels. So there's some great ways to do it. I love CapCut for making reels, even though it's owned by TikTok, but you can get it without TikTok branding, and you can download videos. I've been using it a lot lately, and it's working pretty well. So CapCut is a great tool for that. All right. So about a month and a half ago, I told you guys about this study that just came out about LinkedIn, about how to use it. So I'm moving on to LinkedIn, obviously. And LinkedIn, I said, you're doing LinkedIn wrong. And the reason was this guy, Richard Vanderbloom, who is also, got a Dutch last name. Gotta love that, like me. He is following along with this, and it was his study that I was citing, and I put a link to that study in there. And by the way, that's on my Facebook channel. It's all there, also there, but it's on my YouTube channel as well. So I would love for you guys to definitely be subscribed to my YouTube channel. There's just a lot of stuff there, and all of the things I do, I tend to aggregate them there. It's an easy place to find everything that I do. And I'll put the banner for that on here so you can see it. This is where you go for that. But anyway, he has been following along, and there has been some further changes in the algorithm. Now, I know you can't really read this because there's a lot there, but the link to that is in this YouTube channel. I have a link to all my links, a link of links. And one of the things he said, and I'm going to read these off to you really slowly, I'll try to, is that personal profiles, the impressions are down by 30 to 40%. Follower growth is down by 35 to 45% on LinkedIn. So if you're seeing like lower LinkedIn numbers, it's not just you. It's absolutely not just you. Engagement is also down by 70 to 80%. So help me out, guys. Please, like, leave a comment today and tell me what you're thinking about this stuff, and that would be helpful to me. So engagement is huge because that is actually one of the biggest measures, according to Richard Vanderbloom's research study, is that comments are huge on LinkedIn because that's where we're connecting with each other, and the algorithm is learning who likes who. Also, I think, personally, I think DMs are also pretty important, but not the spammy ones, because you want to have interaction in those DMs. So don't sell things in DMs. It's just not worth it. It doesn't work anyway. And you want people to interact with you there. Polls are also down 40 to 50%. That doesn't surprise me. Polls they get boring after a while. They get kind of overwhelming and boring. I'm very judicious about polls. I use them occasionally, like when I actually really want to learn something from you. I'm not just trying to get interaction. I'm trying to learn something from you so that I can deliver better. So I'll use polls for that. Carousels are also down. So sponsored content and ads are down, which is crazy. I can't even imagine why ads are down. Maybe more people are buying ads. So because of that, you're seeing fewer of them because the overall stock for them isn't there. Again, on any platform, when a lot more people start buying ads, it's gonna like compete with other people's ads. So interesting. Preferred content creators are people that, okay, I'm gonna say here, say this again. So text and image posts are down 30 to 40%. Native video is down 75 to 85%. I guess that's when you upload a video. Maybe I don't know about the live stream videos. If those are down, I suspect they are. I've seen it kind of in my own numbers. And I guess what's happening here is a lot of people have rushed to LinkedIn. And so anytime you have a surge of competition, you will have drops in your overall reach. It's just like that. Organic company page content is, I mean, I don't think that's changed much. It's almost invisible. It's like 1.5%. It's really low. And so that's really hard to see. AI, so if you want to see what we do see in our feed right now, we see sponsored content and ads. That's 50% of our content. That's because there's more ads. I told you that because more of us are making them. We see preferred content creators. About 24% of our feed is that. Other content creators are about 18%. That's where they show us, other content creators that we might like. AI generated content by LinkedIn is 6%. Like they're giving us their LinkedIn AI content. It's 6% in our feed. So they're favoring specific content topics around AI right now. I do know that that's happening because so many people are interested in AI and how it's going to impact them. So I know that that's happening a lot. I mean, I'm definitely talking about AI a lot. I'm adding a once a month AI update for communicators called, AI Smart Sparks. And I did my first one I think it was last week. I did my first one last week, and I will continue to put those out once a month. I'm not going to overwhelm y'all with AI. I want to continue with my social media content, but I do want to talk about AI in the context of communicators and how we need to use it. I'm talking about that a lot on stages everywhere. So I want to make sure that I'm sharing that with you all the time. So again, subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's just a lot there. The thing that is really interesting to me about all of this is that LinkedIn has become also maybe a replacement platform for a couple of other platforms. I know some people that were really like sort of X/Twitter users have come to LinkedIn. That would be me. There's people that were Facebook users that may have been, at different places as well. And they have come now to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is we're leaning into it as maybe a preferred platform. I know I feel like LinkedIn is kind of my preferred platform right now. Not kind of, it is my preferred platform at the moment. So, and then of course, I'm trying to love Instagram, guys. I know some of you are Instagram fanatics, and I love Instagram to a certain degree, but it's just very intensive for the creation part. So I'm working on Instagram, and I do think Instagram is growing in that way. And I do think it's a place that's really going to be popular for the people that are worried about what's going to happen with TikTok. So people are leaning into Instagram, they're leaning into LinkedIn right now. And because of it, you have a surge of people. And anytime you have a surge of people, it's going to be harder for you to be seen. It's as simple as that. The more people, the harder it is to be seen. It also is a big opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for all of us. Okay. So let me kind of move on here to see if there's anything else I haven't told you yet that I want to make sure I tell you. I thought that new thing that TikTok was putting out, the TikTok notes, was really, really important. I do agree that the TikTok notes is just, it could be a big deal. Just like Reels, just like Threads was a big deal, even though they said it wasn't going to be a big deal, it has overcome users from TikTok. I love Threads too. I'm going to be probably spending some more time over there myself. All right, so that's it. Here's the YouTube channel that I was telling you about. So let me kind of launch into one of the things I wanted to tell you. So I'm sure with all this competition, there's a little bit of fear, and I get that. And part of that fear is, oh, Google doesn't like me right now. Guys, I can't show you this in the way I want to. And really, in the end of the day, what I think is the most important thing for us to really lean into during these huge algorithmic changes is, oh my gosh, they want me to sign it, is really all about community. And I believe that that's really the thing, is that community becomes so much more important to us than almost anything else. And if you're not building an online community, and I don't mean just people that follow you or listen to your stuff or go whatever, but people that you're actually getting in there with and having conversations with and growing with or whatever. It doesn't have to be, community doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be a branded thing with a lot of work, and it needs to be a group of people. You can also join a community and be a part of a community. I do that with Mark Schaefer's Rise group. That is definitely one where I'm looking. I'm also a member of the Global Tea Break with D. Scott Smith and Alan Hennessy. And I also have my own communities like Social Media Breakfast of Houston. We just celebrated our 15th year. I've been doing that here in Houston, and it is it's an amazing community. I would say it's at the foundation of what has been working in my career over the years, and in social media too, because we all follow each other, we all find each other, and if we can't find each other, we go looking for each other. And I think that's the key, right? So people often would ask me, where should I build my social media presence? And I say, you build your social media presence wherever your community is hanging out. And the only way to know if it is your community is to be a part of it, not just to be out there. And I think a lot of people talk about community as people that follow me on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, but that is not true. And I'm going to talk about this in a lot more depth in a couple of weeks, because I'm going to talk about my bees and swarming method, which is really all around building a hive for a hive mind for your content and for your community. But one of the things, by the way, I just finally got this thing to to sign in. My gosh, it's so funny. So here is my long earned method for pulling together your social media. And it's just really 6 steps. And by the way, it's circular because all of these steps are important, and they're pieces of the puzzle. So number 1, I call it Explorer. And I call it Explorer because that is about you. It's about what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to manage, what your goal is in using social media. You need to know that intimately. You need to understand what your brand voice is. By the way, I'm going to be doing a brand voice workshop here in a couple of weeks, and I hope many of you will come. It's free, and it's part of my Smart Social Mastery group. But that really is the first thing, is what is your voice? Like, what voice are you trying to put out there? Once you do that, then you can start attracting people, and you can go out and join communities and start connecting with people and get that organized. And then at that point, you can architect your whole hive. Like, what is your hive? Like, where does your copy live? Where does your thought leadership and IP live? Intellectual property. Where are all these things at? Then you head to creator. By the way, do you see this? A lot of people go straight to creating content before they do all these steps. But you need to do all these steps so that when you start creating content, it's what somebody wants. It's what the things that people want. Then I have an attractor step here, because once you're creating content, you can create and create and create. But what's the call to action? What are you trying to do? Especially in the business side of things, right? What are you trying to build with your audience, with your community? And then the innovator stage is really that last step whenever you are iterating and changing and pivoting if necessary. And by the way, guys, pivoting is just a huge part of what we have to do in the online space. If you are building anything here, I've been doing this now on the online space. I've been doing PR for 30 years. I don't want to talk about it. I'm a baby. I started when I was 12. I've been doing PR for 30 years, but I've been doing social media management for 20 years. 20. I started really early. I was on the early cusp of this, no doubt. But I have changed so much over those 20 years. Like, when we first started, it was just blogs. That's all we did was blogging. And I still remember when there was Facebook, but Facebook, you had to have a university email address in order to use it. I don't know if any of you remember that. Am I alone in this? Let me know if you remember that. And we then had Twitter. So Twitter came out in 2007. I was in 2005, I started blogging. 2007, Twitter came out. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was kind of irritated with it when it first came out. I was like, I don't have time for this. I can't do like Twitter and Facebook and blogging and da, da, da. It's kind of quaint now, if you think about it. It's sort of quaint because we have a whole different thing. So we're always like changing and pivoting and moving on. And by the way, AI is just a new layer of level on this, right? So I'm really talking about how to use your humanity inside of AI. A lot of people are not quite there yet. We are using it just to kind of like as a throwaway, or we're avoiding it, or some of us are using it in pretty interesting ways. So I'm going to be talking about that more, like I said, once a month. I think I'm going to do that on the fourth Thursday of every month. I'll do an AI either interview or overview, one of those two, and it's going to be completely and totally connected with communicators and how you can use it as a communicator or a creator. So that's kind of where I'm headed with that. So anyway, my point is that you have this circle, and I'll put it up again so you can see it, of exploring yourself, connecting with your audience, creating your platform, creating your content and what you're going to be sharing with people, building an attraction funnel, if you want to call it that, but more like a place for people to interact with you, a mechanism for people to interact with you, and then you're going to innovate. So, and at innovation stage, you'll start over again because you're going to look at yourself again and say, how can my brand voice change? And should my brand voice change? I've been going through a brand workshop with Mark Schaefer, who I told you is one of my mentors, recently, because exactly that. I'm like, how do I need to shift right now in order to grow my personal brand in a way that is going to be useful to you, useful to all of you? And I have you at the very forefront of my mind in everything I do. I think if you've known me for any length of time, you know this is true about me, that I am passionate about helping communicators, both internal communicators at brands, where we serve them at Zoetica, which is my agency, and also with consultants and coaches that are communicators that are out there making huge difference with their clients and customers. These two audiences are really important to me. You guys are really important to me. So if you're listening to this and you're one of those, I mean, like I go to bed thinking about at night how I can help you to get through whatever challenges you're going through. And I know what some of them are. And this is one of them. Is like, how do we keep on top of things? How do we keep at the edge of things? And then this is how you do it. You work together in a community and manage it. So that is the thing that I'm really excited about right now, is helping you do that. So whether you're inside like PR, like at a brand, no worries about that, because, I mean, even if you're not saying, I'm not going to hire an agency, fine. I just have a lot of content for you that's going to help you with what you're doing. And so I continue to want to build that content for you and for everyone. Let me give you a link to the upcoming brand voice workshop. So that is why I'm creating in the next, month. And I think it's exactly June 17th. It's a Tuesday, whatever that is. June 17th, I think, 18th. It might be the 18th. So June 17th or 18th, I am doing a brand voice workshop. And the brand voice workshop is part of my Smart Social Mastery group. And I want to show you that here so you can grab it. And you can go to, the bit.ly, forget this, the two, just one /bit.ly/SSM, but do those all as capitals. It's case sensitive, guys. So it's case sensitive. SSM, and then all lowercase. Open houses 6/24. Open houses 6/24, and that's the date. I'm sorry, 6/24. All right, so that is it, guys. I just wanted to come in here today and give you this information so that you can put it to use. There's a lot of changes in algorithms going on. You can rewind to the beginning to go through all of them. I made a link of links in my YouTube account, which you can go grab here. The link of links have all of the articles I just talked about. So if you want to go deeper into any of these articles, go to this link right here to go grab those links. And that's it, guys. Hopefully you guys have an amazing day, and I am out of here. I'll talk to you soon, and I hope that you guys all have an amazing, amazing week.